everyone, this is Devleena welcoming you all to another iconic episode of Icons Behind Brand. And the interesting series is none other than Iconic Ads with Devleena and Saurabh. I have my expert co host with me, Mr. Saurabh Bajaj. Welcome here
Hi, good
once,
to be here.
same year. And we have our guest for today, Ms. Priya Lobo, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Ormex Compass.
Hi,
Hi,
Priya.
and hi, Saurabh. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to IBB, Priya. Before we talk, let me play the ad.
32 कटलेट्स 24 पैटीज
इनमें से कुछ भी नहीं बिका सर।
खत्म करी नाक्सो तने जाके सेल करो।
क्या सेल करेगा जिमी? 20 साल में कभी ऐसा नहीं देखा है। नो कस्टमर्स, नो सेल।
कार देखो गाड़ी पे होम इंस्पेक्शन बुक करो और कार बेचो ऑफिस, घर या कहीं से भी और पाओ बेस्ट प्राइस, क्विक पेमेंट, फ्री आरसी ट्रांसफर एंड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन। सुनो सुनो, आज से तुम यहाँ पे वेटर नहीं, डिलीवरी बॉय भी। अभी जाओ अभी जाओ।
ओह, क्या बात है।
याद रखना, कार फॉरवर्ड
तो हम फॉरवर्ड।
कार देखो गाड़ी पे होम इंस्पेक्शन बुक करो और बेस्ट प्राइस पे कार बेचो कहीं से भी। गाड़ी फॉरवर्ड तो इंडिया फॉरवर्ड।
Nice, sweet one.
Yes, yes. So, so
Very well.
you all interviewed Gaurav as well, right? Recently, and because of his
Yeah.
OLX,
Right,
race
right.
with OLX. So it's very interesting that Gaurav and I partnered right from OLX days, and done memorable. Yeah, with OLX, so a lot of work there, and then he moved to Cardekho. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'll talk a little bit about the journey before this ad, just for a little bit. When he joined over there, obviously there were challenges, right? There is zero product differentiation. There is already competition with Cars 24. You need an internal buy-in that, Abhi, now what do I do over here, right? And this was pre-pandemic, I think just about 7, 8, 9 months before that. And we hit upon that idea that anybody who buys a car, it's a family decision, right? Everybody and his brother will give you some advice. And that's where that was the first communication that he came out with, that suno sabki pan karo dil ki. And the line was chalao apni. And it did well. Yeah, it did well. In fact, he had as he said, Priya, north I understand, south you crack for me and give it to me. And that is the starting thing from OLX days to now, even with Zupi. I understand north, I need to crack south. While he had two different ads, the theme was the same, that sabki suno pan karo dil ki, chalao apni at an individual level. What he wanted to establish, that I am the Gadi ka expert. Yeah, everybody confuses you when you come over here. I'm a trusted brand. And he also wanted to come across as a sorted brand, a mature brand, right? And Chennai picked that up because the way the communication was done, it was done very tastefully, that come to the Gadika expert. Once you come over here, you're taken care of and you will be able to make a decision for yourself, right? And you'll be proud of that decision. Went well, we were really great because that ad did really well. The music was good and all of that. But when the pandemic came, could you say chalao apni, khud ki karo, sabki suno, pan
Right.
ki karo? It would have hurt the brand.
Yeah. Would
And
have been logical at all.
yeah, it wouldn't have been this. And they didn't advertise that time. But what they did was, I remember talking to Gaurav because both of us championed a lot of thing on MRSI as well. As leaders, how we should be thinking. And he said, cars is about movement, correct? Right now, nobody is going to buy anything. Everybody, automobile industry is going to be in a bad shape. But if we talk about movement, chalao zindagi ki gaadiyan,
Yeah.
then we are still talking movement. We are talking about something which is hope. We're talking about that don't get, mayus mat hona. Zindagi ki gaadi chalti jani chahiye. So that happened. And when, after the first wave and things opened up, he said, I have to do something, right? Things will open up, and that's not the time to make the ad. And that's when we tested some of these scripts. Of course, there were other scripts, but the Akshay Kumar script was so bang on. And we don't test with visuals. It was actually it was almost an arithmetic. And people said they've been able to get out my pain point that as a business person, I'm worried about what's going to happen to my staff.
Hmm.
And if you saw the cheeky stuff, he'll say, yeah, he doesn't have to worry. He'll very sell this thing, he'll make his money, and he'll disappear. The twist was
Turn it around.
he turned it around. And what was important is that Akshay Kumar didn't come across as a celebrity actor, but he melded into that role very, very well. And it didn't become, it became a tasteful ad in many, many ways, right? Arey, kya karu? Itne saal se ye ho raha hai. Takes out the Cardekho app, sells it. And it is about moving forward.
Hmm.
Zindagi ki gaadi aage chalni chahiye. And I think that stood in good stead for the brand. Yeah. And I think that is the power of how a brand understands what's happening with the consumers and what they should do at that time. And they spent sizable amount of money even then. And I think that paid off when things opened up, right? If people would have recognized that this brand is not trying to sell them something, but it's with me even during my difficult times.
Interestingly, it's almost as if Akshay Kumar was playing Boman Irani in the film. Because
Right.
he's playing this nice Iranian, cafe owner with the full trouser pickup and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Which is quite cute, and the typical Iranian mustache.
That's how it blended so well, right? With the character. And that is one thing that I always say. You can choose a celebrity, but if the celebrity stands out like a celebrity, but doesn't blend into the character, then
Right.
you have got, because ultimately the brand should be the hero. Yeah.
True.
And I think when you said Baman Irani, I always remember Ambuja is also a very big client of ours. That Bhaiya ye diwar tootsi kyun nahi? Baman Irani is
Correct.
there.
Yeah,
But
that's his first ad apparently.
yeah, it added value to the brand. Therefore, the brand has
Right.
to always be the hero, right? Therefore, choosing the right person who blends and gets into the character, that is superbly important when we are looking at all ad testing as well.
True. No, I think what is important is often when you choose celebrities is to use them for their acting skills so that they make the brand bigger rather than as who they are, where they are bigger and the brand becomes smaller, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing that they did well. I also liked this, almost as a case study in brand pivoting, where you kept the same core, which is your proposition of the fact that you are in control because you are with experts, right? But it seamlessly fit in with the business and the brand task. Where the task is to say, during the pandemic, how are we going to be relevant? I think that piece of holding on to your brand core, holding on to your values, letting the consumer feel strong and powerful in charge of his life. Because you are with a trusted professional, but fitting into a new situation is, I think, what I like about this piece of creative.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And but there must have been some challenges because it is the whole pandemic and COVID times, etc., where sales and all would have been a bit low. So there must have also been this whole thing of, should we cut back in advertising right now, or should we do something which is relevant?
This is a very interesting one, and I've realized that a lot of people cut back on advertising. But I think what
True.
Gaurav did was, he said, no, I need to stay relevant. Things are going to open up, right? I can't start advertising there because I need to stay relevant. I need to make sure that there was one with Dravid also for the South market, Karnataka market. Again, there it was very, very important how Dravid would come across, because Dravid is a very mature, sorted person, right? And how, in fact, he was the one in that one. I remember it was, children not playing, right, because of the pandemic, and the championships are sorted. So Dravid says, okay, I'll sell my car and get a tempo traveler kind of a thing so that I can take the kids. So he became the coach. So again, the whole idea was India, we need to move forward.
Hmm.
We can't be stuck. There's a time when things are going to move. And even if you had a bad time and you want to sell your car and you want to do something, Cardekho is there. We are the experts. We'll make sure you get what you want, right? And I'm sure everybody made sacrifices over there, and know a lot of businesses made sacrifices. So it would have connected and it would have touched a nerve. Yeah. So that these
I remember.
options are available on Cardekho. Yeah.
Yeah, during pandemic COVID, in fact, from the first wave itself, Cardekho was pretty active in terms of the content distribution in all social media channels and all.
Correct. I don't know whether you followed that. They also started. See, I believe that that comes from a leadership stance.
Hmm.
It comes from a leadership stance. They immediately started this Sunshine Project. I remember talking to Gaurav about it at Qatar with Vineet Panchi.
Hmm.
Beautiful. It was about hope. It was about inspiration. It was about let's not give up this whole optimism that we have. Right? We all needed hope. And I think it would have stood them in good stead. Yeah, because people said that okay, ये कुछ ना कुछ हमारे जिंदगी से जुड़े हुए हैं. It's not that when the times are good now they'll start pushing for the brand and selling it. So you become a selu, no? But you're more relevant and you're taking a leadership stance and you're saying that we are with you. And I think that was brilliantly done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think what I remember from a conversation with Gaurav as well was about the fact that all the ambassadors were chosen to mirror the brand beliefs, which is the fact that we are like the wall, we are trustworthy, and who better than either Rahul Dravid or Akshay Kumar to do it in this kind of a situation. So I think,
Absolutely. Remember that Gadi expert that I started off with before the pandemic?
yeah,
We have to stick to that core because there will be a
Right.
confusion. We all have had confusion buying a car, correct? And
right.
even before we started working, and I think he joined and much later after 2 years, we were sharing our car journey stories, right? And I told him I went to Cardekho, you confused me rather than helping me out with the selection. And I think that's when he went back and checked for the UX UI, the amount of information that a person needs, the detailing and all of that. And I think that's once you set all of that at the back end, then you can call yourself the Gadi expert. Otherwise, you would have had egg on your face, as I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that whole leadership stance and confidence that we know our product is good, we know that our backend is sorted. I think that's what gives them the confidence to do it. Also, what I feel when it comes to these partnerships is also about when the person at the driving seat has the confidence to say that, what, I know this business is going to come back. I'm not living in a world of insecurity to say that, abhi doom and gloom hai, to sara rok dete hain. It takes a bit of confidence to say that, I know the business is going to come back. We're in for the long haul. Let's keep investing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a power of a leader, as I would say. I'm not
Correct.
using the word entrepreneur and professional and all. The power of a leader who says it's going to turn, right? It's going to come back.
Correct.
And I think Gaurav also that way is very, very connected with consumers in his own way.
Right.
Deeply invested in it. And I remember the first time I worked with him on OLX. Uh,
Right.
I, and he will tell you because I talk like that. I say, "ये चक्कर क्या है? कितने ads बनाते रहते हो आप?" And then you're paying one and not paying the other and all of that. And I was working that time very closely with Mondelez. See, the thing is not us saving, right? मैंने टेस्ट कर दिया सबको अच्छा लगा वो नहीं है that can I bring the best thing out. So I said,
Right.
Gaurav, why don't we get into this discipline of testing? It doesn't mean that the thing is bad, okay? But at least we know where we stand,
Hmm.
whether it is meeting the strategy, the value proposition, the sensibility. And he saw value in that. And we used
Yes.
it not as ad testing, but to learn more about a consumer.
Right.
Because every time we did something, we learned more about the category and the ecosystem and the consumer, right? And it deepened our understanding till if you have shared the OLX thing at the end, we started with kuch kimat, kuch kimti bhi. But that was a journey,
Hmm.
ना वो journey था ना
Yes, yes, yes,
अपनी
yes.
वो
Nice.
partnership बात चाहिए. So we used that to understand the consumer. So it was money well spent. We made testing as a discipline. And I remember telling him at Southex when we went, I said, Mondelez believes that things need to be tested not because they want to save their ads, but so that it is absolutely, absolutely connected with the consumer. Correct, Gaurav,
Yes,
Saurabh, you would know that. And that
yes, yes.
discipline is an interesting discipline. And I
Yeah.
know that brands who invest like this, I see a great difference in the way they're looking at the consumer, the connect with the
Yeah, you know,
consumer.
I completely agree with you because see, I'm a fan of research. I feel research is really powerful, really important. But there are two ways of doing research. There is one way of doing research is only confirmatory, saying that give me yes, no, black and white, get out of the room. Yeah. The other way of doing research is to understand. And I'm really passionate about research to understand rather than to get a yes and no. You know, see, research does not only have to be a thermometer. It doesn't only have to be saying that, you know, am I getting my approvals? That I feel is the, you know, most lowest and the base way of doing research, while the
And
valuable
uninspiring
way of
also.
doing research
And
very
uninspiring.
uninspiring.
And I don't
Yes,
do those things because I say, bhai, ye karna hai to, I mean, like, it's not worth it,
correct.
right?
Tom, Dick, and Harry can do it.
Yeah,
True.
anybody can do it. Or what do you want to do with it, right? If you're building a brand, that you're a leader which wants to inspire, and I think much comes from our own thought process, right? Sort of.
True.
What do we want to, as Ormax as a brand, want to work with or leave behind, right?
Right.
And I think
Absolutely.
that I think that blends that way. Yeah.
Great. And so tell me more. And now, when you reflect on how Cardekho, Cars 24, all these brands have evolved, do you think that they've been able to create you know, distinct positioning difference because the services are very similar? So do you think that over time they have been able to create some of that itch in the mind of the consumer where they are seen as providing something distinct?
I think what happened is parallelly they were working. See, what happens when you're buying a car? Today you can go to Cars 24 and check and Cardekho. Mota mota, it is the same. We were building on that proposition that is, I think, before Gaurav moved to Zupi, was the whole fair price.
Hmm.
There's something called
Right.
a fair price. Fairness has become a very important attribute, right? Even in our work life, even in our professional life, right?
Yes. 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 You
And
see is what you get.
in fact, I was reading Dan Ariely, who is a cognitive scientist, and he was, I think, with the economic, I think he was doing a speech, and he said there are two important attributes today: fairness and appreciation.
Ah, nice.
And fairness, and you know what I try to pick up, Saurabh, is what is the running theme now? What
Right.
and that could be not necessarily in our work, but it could be somewhere else, and maybe
Right.
it's
Right.
having an impact, right? And appreciation has become
Beautiful.
such an important thought. Gratitude has become such a thought. Fairness has become a thought. And if a brand stands for fairness,
Hmm.
that tum aa jao,
Yeah.
we'll make sure you get the right thing. We'll make sure that, so then you stand for something, which is more
Honest
subtle.
pricing.
Yeah, honest pricing. And I think
Yeah.
that's where you have to be at it, right? Which I was telling you.
True.
It is not
Yes.
easy. It's not easy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's lovely. I think that's great because you know, even from a learning from a marketing standpoint, yeah, you know, oftentimes when it comes to FMCG products, you know, the challenge has been that all soaps are the same, all chocolates are the same, all you know, products are the same, and hence you would lean on emotion to provide a differentiation.
Hmm.
Like Dettol is far more about hygiene and safety, more in your head rather than the product itself. Versus Lux is about glamour. So similarly, when it comes to online services like say a clear trip or a booking or
Hmm.
financial services like an ACO or a car you know, purchase service, there when you have similar services, how do you provide the differentiation? And they're providing differentiation by values rather than only emotions. I think that's a good leap. And hence, if you are able to, you know, move upwards in the emotional ladder with the value of fairness or you know, of honesty, or you know, we got it back, etc., that then becomes a compelling differentiator with the otherwise very similar service. So I think that for me is like a big takeout for this conversation.
And it's important because, people say that, oh, it's a tech thing. No,
Right.
it's a consumer using it, right? At the end
Correct.
of and,
Correct.
and he has so many available options today. Then what is it that's
Correct.
going to stand out for you? And I think much of the learnings are also when we worked on OLX, right? You know, can you imagine somebody coming to your house to buy something? That was like early on, right? Today it's
Yeah.
become like matter of fact. And I remember
Correct.
Gaurav and I was sitting in this woman's house, and she spoke and all of that, and she was trying to figure out who we were, whether we were from the company or kya chal raha hai, that kind. At the end of it, I said, "और कुछ है क्या आपको?" So then she said, "एक बात बोलूं क्या आपको? When those guys come, na, they want the microwave, right? But they scan the entire house." And then we
Hmm.
realized that unconsciously, safety and security is a very important thing, because if you looked at the app early on, you didn't know who was going to come.
Hmm.
Breaking
Hmm.
those barriers became very important. Can I have the details of the person who is coming to check? Do
Right.
I know that person? Can I ask him? Is he coming फालतू में and spending my time and wasting my time? उसको कुछ खरीदना लेना नहीं है. And I think
Hmm.
addressing those softer, subtle issues from a consumer point of view makes a brand a empathetic brand. A brand
Right.
who really wants to understand, right? At the end of it.
Hmm.
And I think those are
Nice.
the journeys, right? It doesn't happen one shot. You have to keep at it. You have to keep
Yeah.
trying as well, right? Without the fear of saying, what if it fails? It is saying, okay, ye nahi chala, okay, let's try that. Maybe this didn't work, then what would work, right? And I think that makes everything successful. Otherwise we'll never do anything. You won't see great work coming out of it at all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was an interesting conversation. Saurav, I would love to know about the key takeaways and learnings from this particular conversation.
Sure. No, I would say that it's a fascinating piece of advertising and and communication at a very relevant time. Now, why is it relevant? The relevance is the fact that Cardekho is finally about automobiles, and in the time of the pandemic, automobiles are not getting sold, right? So a lot of brands would have stopped investment. But what did they do? They said, you know what? Maybe there's a spin on it. I want to keep my awareness going, because the moment I come back, I will get the business. But I cannot be speaking in a manner which doesn't make sense to anybody. So hence the way they wove the script about the fact that there is no consumers coming in, but you can go to somebody else's house. Hence, you might want to sell your car, and there's a reason for doing that. Yeah, and hence come to Cardekho. So I would say that was really smart and intelligent, and about saying that no matter how the situation is, how do I remain relevant during this time? The second part for me is about the fact that they decided for Cardekho, it's almost a commodity category in that sense, a very easily replicable category. They decided to own a positioning. And the positioning that they decided to own was about the fact that we are like Clear Trip, we are somebody who's very honest, which is dependable. We're like the wall. So whether it's Rahul Dravid or Akshay Kumar, right kind of personalities to correlate with, the right kind of values to try to express to the consumer consistently. The third thing for me was also the fact that it's not just about Akshay Kumar. It's about using Akshay Kumar as an actor, using his acting skills, right? Towards saying that, we want to use this to make it more engaging and provocative piece of communication. We don't want to hero and say, oh, we have Akshay Kumar. It's not about, oh, we have Akshay Kumar. It's about the fact that we will leverage Akshay Kumar in our brand values to give a message or a point of communication which is relevant. Yeah. And hence, for me, I mean, in summary, the top three takeouts are again, one, don't stop communicating even in the time of a crisis. Figure out an angle which is relevant. Second, build an imagery or positioning, and in the world of services, values like transparency or honesty can be a great differentiator and a point of your proposition. And third, when you take on an actor, use the actor for his acting skills and not just about hearing the fact that, oh, we have an actor. So then you can really juice it out and really build your equity around it. So these for me were really the top three takeouts.
Super, Saurav. Thank you so much for sharing these takeaways and learnings for us and for our viewers. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Great. Looking forward to next week.